Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Sharon Bown, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is leading aircraft woman Miranda Rawlingson. We warmly welcome the family of Sapper Edward Victor Riches, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family and visitors. Please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is earth by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 Australian men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, flowers of the forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Sapper Edward Victor Ritchie's. Edward Ritchie's was born in 1897, one of 6 children of Robert and Elizabeth Ritchie's of Romford in Essex, England. Edward spent some of his formative years at Sandringham School of Forest Gate in London before the Ritchie's family immigrated to Australia in 1910. He finished his schooling at the Adelaide suburb of Richmond, where he paraded with the 75th Battalion Senior Cadets. After school, Ritchie's attended the Adelaide School of Mines, worked as an engineer at the Campbell & Co engineering firm, and was a member of the 78th Adelaide Rifles. Ritchie's enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force in January 1916, and after a period of training at Exhibition Camp and Mitcham, embarked with a reinforcement group for the 27th Battalion, bound for the training camps in Egypt. The Gallipoli campaign had ended before Edward enlisted, and the AIF spent the following months training and reorganising for its departure on the Western Front. Ritchie sailed for France in June 1916 and participated in the bitter fighting for Pozières and Mouquet Farm during the following weeks. Perhaps due to his engineering background, he transferred to the 1st Division Signals Company, where he joined his older brother Robert and was responsible for maintaining communications between the infantry and their various headquarters units. Now a sapper, Ritchie's participated in the 1st Division's major actions on the Western Front the following year, including Gurdacorps, Lagnicourt and Bullecourt. In September, Ritchie's went on furlough to England for a well-earned period of leave. He returned to the front as the Australians made a series of advances in Belgium that stalled before the villages of Passchendaele. Within 8 weeks of fighting in the Third Battle of Ypres, the Australians suffered some 36,000 casualties. After numerous attempts to reach Passchendaele village, the Australians were relieved by the Canadian Corps in November 1917 and moved back south into France. Ritchie's was killed as the 1st Division Signals Company was moving between the Ypres ramparts to their new headquarters in France. The historical records do not tell us how he met his final moments. All that we know is that he was 20 years old and was buried at Rheinhaus New Military Cemetery in Belgium, where he rests today. Edward Ritchie's is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, along with 60,000 others from the First World War. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Sapper Edward Ritchie's, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in hope for a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozieres or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.